it's Dorothy Kelly, back today with our introduction to WTV 60 series. This is so exciting because today I have with me Sherry Campos. You know, some of you might remember Sherry because this is not her first visit to our show. In fact, a couple of years ago, I filmed her with a pumpkin pie keto recipe, and it was one of our biggest events. So thanks, Sherry. You're a terrific cook. I know that.
Oh, thank you.
But today, I want to have Sherry share with our audience, her COVID story. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I introduced this topic, storytelling, on WTV 60. And today we have Sherry. We're going to go over 3 questions with Sherry that she's going to share with us, 10-15-minute presentation. So Sherry, I know because we've been friends for quite a while, that you really were hesitant about getting the vaccine, and millions of people were and still have not been vaccinated. Can you share with us around your hesitancy?
Sure. I've never really been one for vaccines anyway. And I had decided originally that I wasn't going to get one. I did some research, and I always felt like they were just putting the whatever the toxins were, that they were just injecting it into your body. That may be right or wrong. I don't know 100%, but that was just my personal feeling. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to stay at home and stay as safe as I can. I, started to have people around me, people I know of, come down with it. My sister's husband's cousin actually passed away from it the first year in 2020. So it was very scary for me. And I love to travel, as you know, Dorothy. You and I did a little traveling. But I just absolutely love to travel. And that was the thing that really got me down, was the fact that I couldn't travel because I was so afraid of, getting the virus while I was out and about. And last year, I finally decided I was going to make the leap, and I went on a little road trip to Reno. But I have to tell you, the whole time I was paranoid. I spent most of my time in my room, or, if we did eat in a restaurant, I always was very uncomfortable having to take off my mask, having people around me take off their mask. And I just wasn't comfortable. I said, why am I traveling? It's just not fun, to be so paranoid. I can remember standing in a line to get some food at the hotel that I was staying at, and the line was so long and people were just crowding together. And I was ready to just get out of line and go up to my room, but I didn't because I was so hungry. And all the restaurants were packed that day. So it was like, okay, if I want to get some food, this is it.
Yeah.
But I decided that my next trip, I was not going to have to deal with being so uncomfortable and paranoid to be around people. My sister and I had planned to go to Boston in September, which is one of our favorite cities. We absolutely love Boston. So I talked to her. I did lots of research. I talked to lots of people, especially older people, because a lot of older people were having some issues and things that were happening. I've heard of people that even died after the vaccination. So that was my biggest fear, is with my health. I'm a cancer survivor. What is it going to do to me? Am I going to have health issues? And, people kept saying to me, well, just think about if you got COVID, you might have long-term health issues. And, I finally talked to a friend, and a friend of hers that's a nurse, and she said she had felt the same way I did. She was very in a panic, but she finally went ahead and took the vaccine, and she was calmer. She actually was more comfortable being out in public. And I can remember a friend of mine telling me, wow, when I ran into her at a grocery store, she goes, you seem so paranoid, just having to go grocery shopping. And I was like, yeah, I was. So I finally made the decision in August of last year that I was going to get the vaccination, and I just did it. As soon as I made the decision, I got online, I made my appointment. I think my appointment was the following day. This was a Saturday. My appointment was on Sunday. It was like, let's get it done. And I talked to my sister and I said, look, if you're going to go with me to Boston and we're going to share a hotel room, you have to get vaccinated. Otherwise, I can't do it. If I'm going to get vaccinated, you're going to get vaccinated. So she agreed, and we both got vaccinated. And I have to tell you, the relief it gave
Mhm.
me. I still mask up, and, I'm very careful. I carry my disinfectant wipes everywhere, and I wipe down, if I sit at a restaurant, I wipe down my table, and I do all that, but I'm not so paranoid anymore. It gave me a sense of calmness and relief that I can actually go out in public again. And that was the biggest thing. That's why I decided, it was best for me. And now tomorrow I go get my booster. So
Great,
I'm looking
great.
forward to being boosted up.
Well, thank you for sharing that, because I know there are still millions of people that haven't gotten the vaccination for various reasons, and
Right.
it's unfortunate for them and for us, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
So I want to go on to the second part, because this I know from experience with you, Sherry. When COVID started back March 2020, you jumped into action. Can you tell us a little bit about why I can confidently make that statement about you?
Sure. So I just knew there was a lot of people that were either health compromised, elderly. There was a lot of reasons why they shouldn't be going out in public. And the first thing I did is I started doing grocery shopping for my mom. I also have, or had, she has since passed, unfortunately, but I had a neighbor that lived nearby me that it was actually a blessing in disguise, because I did her shopping for her every Tuesday. And because of that, I got to see this woman every week up until a month before she passed away. She had cancer. She had it for years. And she was just the most amazing woman. She knew that she was dying. And she, at some point, said, I love you, but I don't want you to come visit me anymore. But all that time up until she passed, I got to see her every Tuesday. And we didn't really visit, but we would sit outside of her house, and I would hand her groceries, and we would chat. So it was a really nice blessing that I got to spend more time with her with COVID than if there was no such thing as COVID, because
Yeah.
otherwise we saw each other, every now and then. Once in a while she'd call me, I'd go by and visit her. She didn't drive, so every now and then I would take her to the grocery store. But I got to see her so often, and I was just so blessed, because she passed away last July. But after that, I started, talking to other people, even yourself, you were concerned. I think, there was a few things that you really needed. And so I remember putting some things in a bag and stopping at the store and dropping them off to you. And I felt good being able to do that. There was people on an app called Nextdoor that were posting about how they didn't have families, or they weren't going to have a Thanksgiving dinner. And I noticed that neighbors started offering to bring food. So I started offering to bring food. I actually met a really nice lady that lives a couple miles from me. And her and her husband I think she had one child at the time. She's since had another baby, but she was saying that they weren't going to have enough money to be able to have a Thanksgiving dinner. So I contacted her, and I got a list of all the things that she wanted, and I dropped it off to her. And I got to meet some really cool people because of that, and she, kept in touch every now and then. And for Christmas, I also got her a gift card for a grocery store so that, she could get groceries. And I told her I'd be happy to go get them, but, she wanted to go herself. So I said, okay, I'll just give her a card. But it just gave me the opportunity to get to know people. And not only that, to really build some relationships, which I really enjoy. So anytime, there was anyone that needed something, I was always, willing to offer to drop it off. In fact, a couple of people started saying that they had canned goods that they could give away. So I would go to their houses and pick up what they were willing to share, and then take it to other neighbors that needed it. And it just, it's such a good feeling when you can do something like that for people. I really feel that, I feel blessed and I want to bless others.
Well, I love that story. And you're right. You brought a bag over to me. And if people can really think back to when the COVID started, March, remember what was happening with grocery store shelves? How so many items were out, especially TP,
Toilet paper. Yeah.
toilet paper.
And in fact, I remember that was one of the things that was in the bag. I dropped it off to you.
Yeah. I mean, people were panicked.
Yeah.
I went into a store, I recall, and thought, oh my gosh, this is what it could look like all the time living in some other countries other than
Yeah.
the US, where
True.
the shelves are bare. And so
Yeah.
we really are so blessed in this country to have great abundance. And I applaud you. I wish I could say I did something like that, but I didn't. But I applaud you for stepping up.
Well,
We
thank you.
forget that people around us, even in this great country, have need.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
good
so
for you,
true.
Sherry.
And I have to say, that's one thing that this pandemic has brought to me is it's given me, the ability to help others. And, I love whenever I have that opportunity. So now I look for those opportunities even more so.
Yeah, great. Okay, and now for our third question and final question, because we've been connecting so often, I know that you recently started a new business during the pandemic.
I
So do
sure
you want to
did.
share a little bit about that, how you made it happen, how you maneuvered, how you could actually launch a new company?
Sure. Well, the internet is amazing. And I found that last year because before the pandemic, I was doing a lot of networking events. I have my own networking events. I have my own groups that I would host things, but that all came to an end. And I still wanted to be able to meet people, build my network, and just connect with people. So Zoom has been amazing for that. I mean, look, we're doing this on Zoom, whereas,
Yes,
normally it would be something we'd do in person,
yes.
but Zoom has brought so much to entrepreneurs and allowed us to do so much more. I connect with people all over the US, some people even in other countries now, whereas I couldn't do that if I was just doing, in-person networking events. But last year I decided that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that I believe would benefit and help people. And I wanted to give people the opportunity to have someone help them through buying a property, somebody that's going to be there for their best interest and not just there to make a quick buck. And because every business I start, I always think about how can I help somebody else? And so I decided to get licensed to become a mortgage broker. I also learned how to do private money lending so that I could help real estate investors. But my goal really was to be there to get people through a difficult process and just with integrity and honesty and give them the best value and make sure that I'm not just trying to give them what's going to make me a quick buck or the most amount of money, but I'm really there to help people. And that's what really makes me feel good is helping people. So I started this business. I've been building it using the internet. I do networking events online, and talk to people. I use LinkedIn and Facebook and any other social media that I can find. But yeah, it's been great. And it's been great being able to pivot away from doing in-person events and doing things online. And I actually found that I prefer it online more so than in person because I'm kind of an introvert. And when I'm in a big group of people, I'm usually the one sitting in the room by myself, not talking, and everyone around me are having conversations. And with Zoom, there's lots of opportunities to be put into one-on-one breakout rooms where I can just focus on one person and have a real conversation. So it's opened up some doors for me, and I'm really excited about it.
Great, great. Well, some know this about me with my background. I've been doing bookkeeping and tax prep and consulting for 40 years now. And every year I have a client comes in that's trying to get a new loan, and it's not an easy process. So thank you for coming to this business with integrity and recognizing that it's an emotional experience for people.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
time consuming. It's so much paperwork, and it can be very frustrating.
Yeah, it can. I've gone through it myself a few times. So I can remember when the first time I bought my house, I was on the phone with my real estate agent in tears saying, "You're asking me for something else. I can't have the stress. Leave me alone." And I was lucky. I had a real estate agent who said, "Don't worry, I'll help you. I'll
Yeah,
come get the documents. I'll take them where they need to
yeah,
go." And she was there to really, help me and support me. And I think that's what we all want. We just want
yeah,
someone that's going to be supportive and willing to
yeah,
help.
yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. In
Yeah.
life in general, and
Yeah.
specifically in this field. Well, I wasn't thinking when we started this conversation that if you, Sherry, would like to send me a link to of how to get in touch with you for anybody that might be looking for a loan. Last year, I'm thinking back now, I have 3 different clients that were looking at refinancing. And with one woman, I thought months went by, and I texted her and I said, well, what happened? I thought you would let me know. And she said, oh, I'm still working on it.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I don't, to this day, I don't know if she was successful. So I will text her separately and see if she would like a new contact to go with.
That would be great. I appreciate that.
Yes. Okay. Well, anything else you want to add to wrap up?
I just want to say, if any of you out there listening, if you have the opportunity and the ability to help somebody else, do it. It's a great feeling.
Thanks, Sherry.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Well, that's it for today. A COVID success story. I appreciate you joining us, and viewers, I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.